Yeah, I'll just go ahead and start just in case she jumps on. So like mine down here, like if you don't want to, I just push stop video and press mute. I just don't know what yours is going to look like.
Yeah, I don't either.
Okay. I'll mess with
mean,
it if you can't, if it doesn't pop up. It should. I don't think it's gonna be a problem.
Okay, well, I might join the video. Join without video.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, because that's what shows up
Yeah.
on mine when I do my Zoom with. I don't even have to do
Yeah.
that anymore. It just automatically comes up that way.
Yeah, exactly. Hey, Dad. I'm okay. How are you? Oh, sorry.
Or the night before.
Sorry, Dad.
I get 2 or 3 hours a night.
That's not good.
No,
Sorry.
Did you get hooked
I'm
up?
just trying to get.
I'm hooked up. So yeah, I've just got you in the waiting room.
Yeah,
So I'll
sure.
just wait until it's 12, then I'll admit you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'll just leave it like that.
Yeah. Yeah. So she should be on pretty soon.
Okay. Not a problem.
Okay.
So what's Wes doing today? Is he going to go practice again?
Not today. I think they are maybe tomorrow. Or no, I don't think they are tomorrow. I think they're going early on Saturday. He's just watching movies on YouTube.
Okay. Did you see that thing I was talking about, the Instagram that he sent?
Oh no, but if it was on his post on the story, it's only 24 hours. So I usually just check it at night.
Oh,
so if
I didn't
missed
know
it,
that's how that worked.
that's how stories work. I think you can go back and find them some way. I don't know how though.
Okay. Yeah, I don't.
Bishop, you like Mayor Fuller?
Yes, I do.
I do too. I want you to, he posted something today.
Oh yeah?
He got trapped in a scam. People called him to give a speech and they were setting him up without masks, and it's really bitter. And he just posted what it was about. Apparently they almost got in a fight.
What was it about?
Well, he'll tell us.
Oh, okay.
Just look up Mayor Fuller.
Was it on Facebook?
Yeah. So he did enough for me to send him $100 donation.
Well, good for you. Well, JB said the guy that's running against him just sounds so far right.
Yeah, it's just horrible.
So surely he'll get reelected.
Well, I hope so, but I don't know.
I know, you never know.
But anyway, you may want to. It's on Facebook.
Okay, yeah, I'll wait till after this, and
Just
I'll
do Mayor Fuller on Facebook, and you'll find it.
Yeah. Okay, let her in real quick.
I still have that stupid mockingbird.
I'm gonna have to let her in, Mom, and you can stay there. That's fine. But let me just get her.
No, I'm gonna close the door so you can. Yeah. Thought he was gone. It's not.
All right, I'm looking who do I know that's joining?
Hello, everyone.
How long have you been working with that?
I'm coming up on 2 years in May.
Okay, like I'm really super surprised that we didn't really like meet officially. Like, I think I've kind of lived in a cave for the past 7 years, and I'm just now starting to. Shelly got me out of the cave. It's all her fault.
It's all her fault. Oh,
That's
Shelley.
her fault. She got me out of the cave. She
I'll
got me
take the blame. I'll take the blame / credit for that.
to the car. That is so funny.
I'm driving, but I didn't want to miss it. So I logged on for my phone.
People, I hope more people join because we have a ton of fun stuff. But, let me see who I know. Oh, Parent Barrier here, very nice. And I'm trying to see whose names. Leisha, Shelly, Mike's here. Oh, Miss Pasek's here. I told her to come. Alex, Janet, Carol, Winston's here. Mr. Winston. Okay, you're gonna give me the green light to go whenever you want to.
All right.
You're recording this, right?
Yes, we are recording this, and welcome everyone. This was all Dr. Chitnis's idea, so we're really excited to branch out and provide a little bit of a different program. But of course, as for those of you that know Dr. Chitnis, she's already done lots and lots of homework. So at the end of this program, I've got a couple of articles I'm going to send you. One is on nutrition, one is on care partners, but she's going to show us a really exciting demonstration with a Caribbean, I'll let her go into details, but a Caribbean dish that's going to be friendly for everyone. And she's also going to be open to answering questions. So we're trying to make this a little bit more personal. So you guys can either use the raise hand feature, you can use the chat feature, and then you can unmute yourself if you've got a question. And so please feel free to use all the interactive tools so that we can make this a fun experience. So we're really glad that you're here. And with that, I will turn it over to Dr. Chitnis of UT Southwest. And she is a movement disorder expert, a neurologist at UT Southwest. And she is also on the medical advisory board for DAPS. So I'm officially turning it over to you, Dr. Chitnis.
All right. Well, thank you, Leisha, and thank you everybody that joined. And so I figured I give you enough lectures and I facilitate enough questions for other people. And I figured it would be fun to do something like totally different while we're learning. So if you have a pad and a pen, I'll give my recipe. But if you don't care, that's fine too. Just enjoy and listen, and feel free to interrupt me. This is very, very informal. So what I thought we'll do today is we'll talk a little bit about nutrition as it relates to patients with Parkinson's. We'll also talk about some interactions that can potentially happen between the medications that we take for Parkinson's disease and some of the dietary interactions. And Amy Blisick, who's here in town, I think at UNT or one of the places, does a phenomenal job of the herbal supplements and all of those supplements. But that's not what this is all about. This is just a very general talk, and at the end of it, I hope that you'll walk away with a lot of good stuff. So like, why is nutrition important? I think nutrition is important for everybody, for all of us. I think that people don't recognize, including myself, with all the training that I have, is we are what we eat. And what we put in our mouth basically gets processed, and some things gets processed into good things that get absorbed and go to our different body parts and provide enforcement. But then there are some things that we eat, which is the American diet, that basically gets transformed into like a lot of bad things, and we call them toxins. And those toxins may also get into your heart and your brain and your lungs and destroy them. So I think that we never actually think about it. But as I was also trying to do some research to try to find some if there's any latest stuff that I can share with you guys, my eyes were going like wide and saying like I'm like, Chitnis, like, you suck at this. Like, I cannot believe that we do all of these wrong things and eat all of these wrong things. And so I'm gonna make a conscious effort myself. But I think for patients with Parkinson's disease, malnutrition is a reality. And while we are talking about that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to heat up. And so I'll be moving. And if I'm moving is too distractible for somebody, I'll just mute my video. So let me know. So what I'm going to do here is, this is olive oil. Now, my husband tells me that olive oil is to be eaten like raw, like you put olive oil on salads, and you put olive oils on, like, you make a dip out of the olive oil, and you basically, eat it with bread or crackers or something. He says, like, Italians don't cook with olive oil. I don't know whether that's true or not. Maybe somebody can tell me if you're Italian or have experience with olive oil. But here's like how do I show them? Can I turn my camera around? Is there a way to turn my camera around? I don't know. Maybe not.
You can try if you want to, and we'll tell you what that looks like.
No, but I'm trying to see if I can turn it around. Like, how do I turn it around so that they can see what I'm cooking? Like, I know we can do that for FaceTime.
I think you got to take off your background, because right now we just see your background, your neurology background.
Because I'll take out my background and I'll basically say background like none.
Yes.
I don't want any background, but how do I do? Where is my none? Okay, none. So background is none. Okay. So, but they are now seeing the back of my house, like this is my kitchen, but like.
There we see it.
Yeah. Okay. So, by the way, I tell you, if you are able to afford it, then I highly recommend a brand called Hexclad. It's probably going to cost you about $800 to $1,000, but it's very excellent cookware. It's not, it's not some of the non-stick stuff can come off and get into our, tummies, but apparently this is like metal, so it doesn't, doesn't corrode and it doesn't get. So what I'm using here, this is, I have to tell you that although my thing has a Caribbean sauce in it, it's a stir fry, but I always make a fusion. So this is like cumin. In Indian language, you call it jeera. And so you really got to heat the oil so that, the cumin can sputter. So while my oil is heating, I'm going to tell you a couple of things. So malnutrition in Parkinson's disease can happen for a number of reasons. People cannot smell, right? Sense of smell is affected. People have swallowing difficulties, right? People have constipation, which is, such a problem, right? Because dopamine is present in the enteral nervous system. And when you lose dopamine, and dopamine controls gastrointestinal motility. So when you lose dopamine, what happens is, you get constipation, you have a lot of undigested food, and the undigested food basically, creates toxins, which results in inflammation, which makes the intestinal wall more permeable to toxins. And so these toxins basically get into the bloodstream, get into your immune system, and cause inflammation. And inflammation has now been shown to be at the core of a lot of bad conditions, including like diabetes, hypertension, dementia, and rheumatoid arthritis, and so on and so forth, right? So I think that, and then on top of that, Parkinson's patients develop lots of deficiencies. So they're deficient in B12. So, cinnamate levodopa, carbidopa can interfere with the absorption of B12. And so thereby, you have to check your B12. They can also have a deficiency of coenzyme Q10, which is a mitochondrial protein. They can also develop like, vitamin D deficiency. People don't go out as much, so they don't get as much sunlight, but they can also have inherent deficiency. And then they can have all kinds of deficiencies of like, vitamin B, B1, which is thiamine, B6, which is riboflavin, B12, folate. And then all of these things you need to measure with your primary care doctor and correct all the things that you can correct, okay? So we really understand that malnutrition is a real problem in patients with Parkinson's disease. And so for just because inherently what the disease does to us. And I talked a little bit about processed foods, our Western diet, how it increases intestinal permeability. And, there is this whole theory now about the gut microbiome, the gut flora that it's very important to have the appropriate kind of gut flora. But when you have all these bad toxins, then the gut flora changes. And there is a very nice paper. I cannot even pronounce the names of all those new intestinal bacteria that are seen in the gut of patients with Parkinson's, but the normal flora basically is converted, or some abnormal flora takes over. and that's the problem. So that results in what is called, dysbiosis. So dysfunction of the biological environment of the gut. Okay, so having said that, my oil's heating, and so I'm gonna sputter. So this is cumin. How much you add is up to you. Just add like a teaspoon, and then turn the gas to low because it's gonna burn it. And I wish that I could show you that, and I'm just mad that you're not able to see that. How? Give me 1 second, okay? I'm gonna see if there is any way to reverse this thing. Shelly, you know this? Let me see if I can hide self view. What happened? I just lost. Oh, I'm lost, I think, but I'm back. Do you not see me?
I see you.
Oh, you still see me. Okay, but then I'm not seeing myself. But my goal was for all of you to see what it is that I am doing in terms of cooking. Anyway, so I put cumin in there, and then now the next thing I'm going to do. By the way, I'm going to show you something very dangerous. This is a phenomenally good knife. It's a chef knife. And for my birthday this year, my husband got that for me because it can really chop, okay? Don't keep it in your bedroom. Don't keep it where you sleep. If you have REM sleep behavioral disorder, you're gonna chop off somebody's toe, and you don't wanna do that. So this is to be used when you're wide awake in your kitchen, okay? All right, very good. And so I use this to chop, but I already chopped because I didn't want to waste time. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna add some green chilies that I chopped, and I'm gonna add them. If anybody can give me an idea as to how they can see my, I wonder whether I can log on my phone also, and then keep my phone in such a way that you guys can see that. What do you think, Leisha?
Yeah, why don't you try that? Let's see.
Let me try that. I wish I could bring my other computer, but I'm not here now, and I don't want to waste time. And want to make sure that we make the most out of our time. So calendar. Pardon
Yeah,
me.
Shilpa, the device would need to be pointing at what you're doing. There's no way to just reverse it.
Okay, there's no way. So you look at it. That's fine. So we have the calendar here, and I'm just going to use. I mean, I have another computer, but I would have to leave, and I don't want to leave. So I will basically find 11th of March and go into here, and then see if I'm able to join the event and open. And I don't know whether you have to let me in or not. Okay,
You'll probably we'll need to mute you on one of those.
Yeah. I'll mute. Okay, and so can you mute me on this one?
Yes.
Oh yeah, I'm muted. Okay, but some things.
We're not hearing Dr. Chitnis.
Okay, so I'm.
Now we hear you, but there's an echo.
Yeah, so the only way. Okay. The problem is.
Yeah.
Okay, give me 1 second. So I'm trying to see if I can reverse this.
Shilpa, I don't think you can be logged on two devices right next to each other because of the feedback. Can you maybe try logging off of one and using your original device and just pointing it the other way while you're cooking?
I'm going to do that. Okay. Yeah, I don't want to waste time. And I want to still focus on, what we're doing in terms of the content. Okay. So we talked about malnutrition. So what I did is my chilies are now sputtering. And depending on how spicy you want to make it, I used these are called Thai chilies, and they're green, and I slice them halfway, and that releases the seeds, and then you put it in the oil, then it sputters, and it gives it a really nice, spicy flavor. But I look at green spice and red spice differently. So there's red chilies and green chilies, and I kind of use green chilies for this. Okay, so we talked about malnutrition, we talked about processed foods, and then we can talk about medications and dietary interactions. And while I'm doing that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to now. So I have fine chopped ginger, And you can use again, depending on the quantity of the vegetables and the quantity of the meat that you want to use, that you'll have to use, different amounts. But I basically, if you get like a, 1 inch ginger and maybe about 7 or 8 florets of garlic. I don't like to use, the Indian store has garlic paste and ginger paste, and I don't like to use that because that's not that, it's just a different flavor when you use, when you use basically.
Fresh.
I'm going to hold this now. Can everybody see my cooking?
Yes, I can.
Somebody say yes.
I
No.
see your pan.
Yes, we can.
Who can see my pot?
I think you need to point it down just a little
I
bit.
muted you guys. Okay. Now, can you see my pot?
Yes.
No.
Okay.
Yes.
Wonderful. So, you got to saute. The one thing one needs to remember, and I'm sure you guys are better chefs than I am. I'm sure at least the wives are, but even the men, I'm from Southern Louisiana, and I think that the men sometimes cook even better than the women. I'm usually very pro women, but I have to give a shout out for men from Southern Louisiana. They're phenomenal cooks, and this guy who's like my quasi dad taught me how to make the best gumbo ever. So one day you might see me making gumbo while we're talking about something. Okay, so let's talk about interactions between medications and kind of food. So the commonest one, while I'm sauteing my ginger and my garlic, the commonest one is the interaction that levodopa has with protein. And I never recommend for anybody to not eat protein, because that would not be right, because protein is required for muscle mass. It's required, it's a building block. So you cannot not eat protein. In people who have early Parkinson's disease, where they are taking levodopa only 3 times a day, it's not so much of a problem. You get up in the morning, 7 o'clock, you take your first dose of levodopa, empty stomach as much as possible. If you have nausea, you can chew ginger, you can eat it with crackers, you can eat it with fruit, but not protein. Or you can talk to Dr. Chitnis or whoever your doctor is to give you a anti-nausea medication. And the one that we commonly use is called Tygan. So Tygan is the one. I don't think like Zofran works as well. And you should not use Compazine and Phenergan. Those medicines should not be used in patients with Parkinson's disease for nausea, because they block the dopamine receptors and they will make your levodopa to not work. So the anti-nausea medication of choice is Tygan. I hear that there has been some problem with availability of Tygan in recent times, but and then we give Zofran, but I don't know. I think Tygan probably works best because of the mechanism by which it works. So that's really important. So what you do is you take your medicine, you have to take it with a full 8 ounces or more of water. One of my partners, Dr. Dewey, came up with a very interesting plan. What he tells people is take a liter of water. Of course, everything that I say is very generic information. You have to talk to your primary care doctor if there is, things like, oh, how much water should I drink? And it cannot be one size fits all for every patient with Parkinson's, because if you have congestive heart failure, you probably shouldn't drink more than a liter or less, or you have kidney disease, right? But if you don't have any of those issues and you have constipation, then you can drink a lot of water. And what I tell people is kind of drink 8 ounces times about 7 or 8. And that's probably, there is no holy grail magic number, but it is, why is water important? Water is going to push your levodopa from here through the esophagus down to the intestine where it's absorbed. Everything in Parkinson's disease is slow, including transit through the gut. So if you don't push it with water, your levodopa is taking its own sweet time. It's like kind of cruising slowly, and you're sitting there waiting for it to kick, and you're shaking and you can't get up, and your levodopa is taking its own sweet time. You want your levodopa to work for you, drink a lot of water and push it to the intestine. Now, at the level of the intestine, if you have food or if you have food in your stomach, it's going to take longer for levodopa to kick in. Sometimes you may not absorb the entire amount. Like, most people, if all is well, you should be able to absorb 90% of your immediate release cinematic equivalents. But if you are not doing that, then that's basically a problem. Now, the problem happens when you are taking levodopa, carbidopa like a lot of times. If you have advanced Parkinson's and you're really taking it a lot of times, then that is a problem. And then what I tell people, that there is always, we got to find solution for things. So what you do is you eat your protein, either at the beginning of the day or at the end of the day. Most people, I tell them to eat it at the end of the day, like for your supper. And the reason for that is that you want your levodopa really to kick in first thing in the morning. I mean, levodopa is almost like your first date. Okay, if the first impression is not good, you don't absorb all the stuff, you don't want to date that person again. And it's same with levodopa. If your first dose doesn't kick in, the rest of the day you could be sitting in your chair not moving. So it's really important to to make sure that you get it to kick in, and then the rest of the dose is kicking and you don't have constipation. And then you can eat your protein, balance it in such a way that you eat a majority of your protein at the end of the day, and it might be heavy sometimes. So we have to be creative. Like, I'm giving you lots of tips. So what I'm doing now is I basically added, a bunch of chopped onions to the same thing. And I'm just gonna let it, it's gonna take some time. My mom told me that, and maybe you guys know already, that if you wanna fry onions faster, and you don't wanna burn them, you wanna put them on a slow flame, then what you do is you basically take some salt and you basically sprinkle, salt on the onions, and then you mix them. What I do is I basically add all the salt I'm going to add to my dish. I just add it in there because I can never remember how much I added, and I don't want to eat a salty dish and, get my husband mad at me. So now we're gonna let our onions basically, stir fry. And while we're doing that, everybody's gonna laugh because I think I've said this before in one of the things. Okay, so I hate constipation. It's like the worst thing in the world. And my daughter laughs at me because I have a kid with celiac, and we deal with that all the time. And so she says, Mom, look at your life. You deal with constipation at work, and you deal with constipation at home. Ha, ha, ha. So, so I hate constipation, and I don't like my patients to be constipated. I will tell you the scariest thing that can happen is, it happens rarely, in our practice and specialty movement disorder practice, because we are very good about telling people to manage constipation and to keep track. But in advanced Parkinson's, people don't keep track of bowel movements as much. And, sometimes patients have dementia, and then they can get their bowels entangled and they can get bowel obstruction. And I'm not telling this to scare you. I'm telling this for you to be careful, so that, you either as a patient or as a care partner are going to keep track of the fact that bowel movement is a must for absorbing medicine. But if you don't, have bowel movement, it could be dangerous. And certainly bowel obstruction is one of the, not the commonest, but is one of the causes for mortality in patients with Parkinson's. And we can totally avoid that. And as Samantha always tells you, you avoid the things that we can avoid. We don't want aspiration pneumonia, right? So now I'm going to teach you how to make a smoothie while my onions are happening. And so let me show you, I have what is called a Vitamix. A Vitamix is like a mixie, but it's a very high frequency mixie. Like, this is what it looks like. And basically I create a smoothie. So what do I put in there? Anything is okay, but these are strawberries. Okay, so I put berries, strawberries. Then I don't have raspberries today, but I usually also put raspberries. And these are, a bunch of blueberries. And don't ever drop a blueberry, because you're gonna get your shoe on it and you're gonna go all over the house spreading blueberries. Okay, so I'm adding a bunch of blueberries. And can somebody tell me what is there in the in the berries that's a thing that's good for us, that everybody, but especially patients with Parkinson's disease, can really benefit from? What's in there? Anybody know?
Oh,
You can unmute yourself and talk. I'm putting in some blackberries as we're talking.
Antioxidants.
Yes, Mary, you're absolutely right. They're called flavonoids, and they are in all berries. So you can use strawberry, you can use blackberry, you can use raspberry, and you can use blueberries. And then I just happened to find some acai powder here. I'm gonna get a. So I take like this is, I don't endorse any particular brand. This is called Sun Food Superfoods. We just basically buy whatever Amazon asks us to buy. And then, I just have these 2 scoops of acai powder and acai berries. It's another berry with lots of antioxidants. Okay, so we put it in there. The next thing that I have different things, but, I put all the peas. So the peas are peaches, plums, pears, and prunes. I don't have pears today, but I have peaches and plums, and then I have prunes. And prunes is like, one of my most hated things in life because I don't like the way they taste, but it's really important. I highly endorse prunes for constipation. So, and then you don't have to put a lot. I mean, it depends on how big your. So this is Sunsweet is like the brand we have, and these are prunes, and I take about 4 of them, and I added them in there, and then that's that. And then I also have you can add bananas. I don't have a banana today, but if I have a banana, then I'll add a banana. So you can add all fruits, and this is a little bit of an apple that I added in there. So we're getting our fruits in there, and then and I'm still sauteing my onion happening. Okay, all right, everybody with me so far? And then this is, again, I don't endorse any brand, but this is a brand that we use. It's available at Whole Foods. It's basically Garden of Life. It's raw organic fiber. And if I read to you, so I take a big scoop of that and I just dump that in the thing there. And it's got probiotics. It's got the omega-3 fatty acids. It's gluten-free, vegan, dairy-free. So, it's like for all takers. It's free of everything. I don't know what it has, but, I'll tell you what it has. It has just all kinds of fiber. I mean, it's very, very good, like regular. So it has flaxseed, quinoa, amaranth, millet, buckwheat, garbanzo. It's all grain and, stuff. So this is really good stuff. And then it has probiotics. And then we'll segue into talking about the gut microbiome and probiotics and what. And then the other thing that I'm adding is basically, I like this brand. It's basically protein superfood. It's again available at Whole Foods. And I just add 1 scoop of this. So sometimes, I mean, obviously the best diet would be like a Mediterranean diet, which basically has a lot of fruits and veggies. The problem is, if you don't, I mean, I don't like to eat a lot of red meat, but they have some lean meats. Shawarma is very good, but I think shawarma is beef. But there's chicken shawarma as well. Shawarma is beef, Okay. And my kid's sitting here and listening. And then they have lean, they have fish and they have chicken. But so, people ask me, what kind of diets are good for patients with Parkinson's? And my answer to that is sensible diet. That's the same thing I tell myself, right? What's a sensible diet? Like, you need fruits, you need, vegetables. I mean, I don't know that I get 3 servings of this, 5 servings of that, just try to eat sensibly. And my snacks are all fruit. So there is a couple of diets that have been investigated in Parkinson's. So one of them is, of course, the Mediterranean diet, which has really a lot of good, greens. It has fruits. It basically has, shawarma. Then it has fish and chicken, and it's really, really very good. I highly recommend that, not because it's necessarily a diet for Parkinson's, because I think it's just like a very, very healthy diet. But they've kind of studied that. I looked at one study where apparently eating the mind, which is the Mediterranean diet, it may be good for a lot of neurodegenerative disorders. So basically, in this study, they found that there was a 13% reduction in the risk of developing Parkinson's disease. Take from it whatever. But I think this is a good diet. I mean, is there a role for ketogenic diet? People try that. I don't recommend ketogenic diet as a good diet because I think ketogenic diet focuses on fat and protein. We do need some carbs. I mean, not all carbs are bad. My family's developed this, idea, like every so often my aunt develops this idea in her head, carbs are bad for you, no pasta, no rice, no this. And I said, why don't you just hold your nose, stop breathing, forget about life, come on. I mean, you can't have fad stuff. It's all portions. And while I'm telling you that, I'm telling that to myself because if I like something, I eat a lot of it. But portion is really, really important. So, ketogenic diet, I don't know. Some people tried, the gluten-free diet. I'll tell you, when my family got on the gluten-free diet, I inadvertently ended up losing like 15 pounds. I wasn't even trying. I was at home on FMLA taking care of my kid, and I just ended up losing. I walked maybe a lot more, but so the gluten-free diet has got some, maybe the anti-inflammatory, because wheat is apparently considered to be sometimes a toxin, but I don't know. I don't necessarily recommend a particular diet. I just recommend eat your veggies, eat your fruits. If you're a woman, you need a calcium and vitamin D. Everybody needs, men do too, but when a postmenopausal woman maybe need more calcium, and more vitamin D, and then eat lean meats, bake rather than fry. So I'll tell you that I bought this really, one of the things that I really like to do is I like to look at the value of things that I invest in. Anything in life, it's all about value. There is a quote that I often quote by Oscar Wilde, which says, "Who needs a cynic who knows the price of everything but the value of nothing?" And so I'm firm believer that I don't worry about the price, worry about value. So Breville is the brand that I really like. They make really solid. They're available in Million Sonoma. Again, I'm not endorsing a brand. I'm just telling you my favorites. And it has everything. And it has air fry. It has this very nice function called air fry. And what you do is, whatever it is that you want to fry, if you want to fry chicken, you want to fry, fish, something like that, you basically get it ready just before you're going to put it in the oil. Instead of putting in the oil, you take a nice spray. And, I use this is a Crisco. There's many brands. It's a butter spray. I like the flavor of it. I just put an aluminum foil. I spray that. I put my stuff on it. I spray over it again, and I air fry it. And for each ingredient, you'll have to determine what is the amount of time that you require to air fry, because different things require a little bit more time than the others. Okay, so that's really about diets. We should really focus on and one of the things that I'm trying to tell myself is, before you put something in your mouth, just be mindful. Somebody bought cookies, and I love white chocolate chip cookies like macadamia. I just absolutely die for it. I'll probably kill for it, if it came to that, right? I absolutely love them. But I said, okay, I don't want to deprive myself because I'm going to feel really bad all day, but I'll eat a small piece. So instead of eating the whole cookie, it's like I asked you to divide your cinnamon into 4 quarters. I divided the cookie into 4 quarters and I ate a quarter. So I got the cookie. I didn't get a lot of calories. Everybody was happy, right? And the vendor, was one of the drug reps who wanted to thank us for whatever. Also felt good that Dr. Chitnis ate my cookie. Everybody's happy. The goal in life is to be in harmony with our environment. So that's that. My husband makes fun of me because he says, "Oh, you have a cheat meal, then it turns into a cheat day, then it turns into a cheat weekend." And I think everybody's laughing because I think everybody agrees that we all do it. And so, pick a cheat meal. All right. While I'm telling you, 3 fingers are pointing at me. Okay. So our onions almost happened here. Okay. And then I want to say a little bit about supplements. I'm not a firm believer of supplements. I'm a geriatric doctor. What's a geriatric doctor? A geriatric doctor is any doctor that takes care of older patients. What is old? I don't know. My kid thinks I'm old. I'm 54 and she thinks I'm geriatric. I don't think I'm geriatric yet, but And she's laughing. But, so there is a new norm for what is old. I think old is in the mind, in the body. If you want to keep your body really healthy, I know enough people in their 70s, they play tennis, they look awesome. They don't, I look at some patients and I say, wait, how old are you? 72, wow, you look like you're younger than I am, and I don't look that bad, but still. So if you work out, if you take good care of yourself, you look good. Looking good is awesome. When you look good and you dress well, you feel good. So we should all do that. Okay, supplements. So as I said, Parkinson's patients can have low vitamin D. They can have low vitamin B12 because of the interaction with the cinnamat not being absorbed enough. But they can also have low thiamine, low riboflavin, coenzyme Q10. All of these things can potentially be low. I don't recommend for people to start getting on these supplements. What I recommend for people is once a year, talk to your primary care doctor, get a baseline level of all of these things like B1, B6, B2, vitamin D, B12 maybe more times, and vitamin D maybe more times. And then, we don't measure coenzyme Q10. Vitamin C, remember like when we were all kids and you got a cold and your mom basically gave you orange juice, right? And so that was vitamin C, and it's basically antioxidants. And, so vitamin C is good, but, if you drink orange juice with a lot of sugar's, not good for us. I will tell you, in interest of full disclosure, that I cannot drink my coffee without the appropriate amount of sugar. So that's the one thing I will not, deprive myself of. So first thing in the morning, I get my 2 espresso shots with the amount of sugar and milk, and I'm happy and I'm ready to go. And then people ask me, why are you always happy? So I drink enough caffeine. And I have my family and I have you guys. That's why I'm always happy. All right. So coenzyme Q10 supplements, I don't know. The NIH did very formal research. They studied 1200 milligrams and 2400 milligrams of coenzyme Q10 in Parkinson's patients, did not find any neuroprotective benefit. Having said that, coenzyme Q10 is good for skin, nails, heart. So if your primary care doctor says yes, go for it. Glutathione. A lot of people will, interestingly enough, spend a lot of money and go, to different places to basically get, glutathione IV infusion. So I'm now adding, my onions are done. I'm adding broccoli to it. So my kid's sitting here making a nose at me because she totally hates broccoli, but I think everybody should eat. I think that every kid should be raised on broccoli. I think it's very character building. If you eat broccoli, it's character building, because I'm not sure that's something that even I want to eat, but I eat it anyways, but it's got a lot of good things in it. Okay, so while my broccoli is getting stir fried, what else did we miss? Okay, so turmeric. Like turmeric has a thing called curcumin, and it has antioxidant properties. Lucky for me, I'm Indian. Guess what we put in everything that we cook? All the vegetables and all the curries, everything has turmeric in it. I think what my husband does is, I'm not recommending you do that, but my husband also, like my aunt, does a lot of research. He's a bit more scientific than my aunt, and he comes up with stuff. So I'll tell you what happened when COVID hit. I used to always get up in the morning. I have rheumatoid arthritis. I used to get up in the morning feeling stiff. My patients tell me in the morning, Dr. Chitnis, I feel stiff. And I'm sitting there saying, it totally resonates with me, because I get up in the morning, I feel stiff as well. Maybe not as stiff as you, but I do feel stiff. And then, I get up and I stretch, and then, 10 minutes later, my stiffness is gone. But I don't like it. So Rahul, my husband, took it upon himself to make this concoction. It's warm water, black pepper, ginger, lemon, honey, and turmeric. And then he puts all that and he drinks it himself and he gives it to me. And 2 weeks after I started drinking that, I woke up one morning and I jumped out of bed and I wasn't stiff. And I was like, whoa, what happened? Like, something's missing, because I miss my old dear friend stiffness. And I get up and there's no stiffness. And then I get up every morning after that and I'm drinking, I have no stiffness. So, figure out, I think it's ginger, it's turmeric, and, or maybe it's just placebo, but whatever it is, my stiffness is gone. I'm jumping around like a monkey at age 54. So, I think it's turmeric is probably good.
Hey,
Okay.
Dr. Chitnis.
Yes.
So how much turmeric would you recommend? Or is that very?
I don't know. I don't know that there is a quantity really. What my husband does is he takes a small teaspoon of it, and he just puts a small teaspoon, and that's, see, the thing is that if you put more, you won't be able to drink it. Like turmeric, just like broccoli, doesn't like taste yummy. Like, it's not like dark chocolate. So it basically, so just, you should be able to, and it can stick. Like the one thing I'll tell you for patients with Parkinson's, if you're swallowing problems, it can stick in the lining of the throat and it can give you a cough. And that's happened to me as well. So I think you need to really manage it. And what happens is if you make the drink and you put it down and you don't mix it up, then all the turmeric goes to the bottom. So before you drink it, you take a spoon, you mix it up, and you slowly drink it, not gulp it like me. And because I'm always in a rush. And then just drink some water after that too, because I don't want people to, get a cough. So my broccoli is just kind of done.
What about, could you put it in a smoothie?
Huh?
Can you put it in a smoothie?
I did not put broccoli in the smoothie. I think
No.
Juhi, my
No,
daughter, will die instantaneously. She's sitting here listening. I really don't want her to, die, because I don't put that. But I'm going to put something that, she's going to probably be unconscious, if not die. And that's spinach and celery. Just a small quantity, like not a lot, but you put a small quantity. So we always have spinach at home. We make soup. So we have spinach, and I just put maybe like a couple of leaves here, and I drop them in there. And then I'm just gonna cut a little bit of celery, and I'm just gonna put that in there. And then I'm basically done with the, the ingredients. No, actually I have one more thing. If you like your smoothie to have like a yogurt, it depends on what kind of consistency you want for your smoothie. So if you want, why am I adding spinach? Why am I adding, kale? I don't have kale today. And why am I adding celery? It's all fiber. It's all fiber. So we need all the fiber that we can get, but we just put small quantities of it. And then what do? Let me add a few more veggies here. Let's see. So we talked about, one of the things that they said, if you are not a person, if you're a vegan, like what if you're a vegan? Like what if you don't eat meat? Then what do you do? Because you still have to get your protein. And so I look for answers for that. What is generally recommended, again, it's a generic recommendation, is you take whey protein, which is I think part of what I have. Take a 20-gram scoop. The scoops are approximately that much. And the whey protein is a good source of protein. Although we need, like, I think for a 70 kg man, we probably need 65 grams of protein, if I remember my old biochemistry. But this is 20 grams of protein. And one of the things whey protein has, it's a source of a amino acid that's called cysteine. And cysteine is converted into glutathione. I think everybody with Parkinson's disease has heard about glutathione. When they tried to do glutathione, I'm getting my veggies to add. When they tried to do a clinical trial with glutathione that was given externally, it has never worked. Like there's only one study that has been done with glutathione, and it has never really worked. And for whatever reason, externally given glutathione is just not utilized by the body. So what they recommend is you could use 20 grams of whey protein, which has cysteine in it, and cysteine gets converted biologically into glutathione. And we do know that glutathione has antioxidant properties. So if you really are focused on glutathione, I would suggest that you get it in the form of the whey protein. Do not buy glutathione supplements. Do not go to Florida and pay thousands of dollars to get IV glutathione infusion. It's not going to help you. It's just going to hurt your pocket. It's going to make Dr. Chitnis mad because I told you don't waste your money. So you can get glutathione maybe from whey protein. And there's my piece of paper. Okay, so everybody with me so far? Anybody falling asleep?
No.
Okay, all right, we'll keep going. And I think that, so let's see. Last thing I wanted to basically say was, just a word about gut microbiome. There's a lot of, there's a lot that has been talked about, and I'll give you my simple explanation of the role of the gut microbiome and what happens. Okay, my daughter says it's not gut microbiome, it's gut microbiome. So, having teenage children, I'm going to tell you something I read on Facebook. Again, I don't endorse this. What they said on Facebook is having teenage children has made me understand why certain animal kinds eat their young. So, I'm teasing. I'm just being silly. Okay, so I'm stirring my thing. Can you please pass me some yogurt and honey, child? So, okay, so this is what happens. Let's say you have normal gut microbiome. We don't know what causes Parkinson's. Like, is it some bug? Is it like, some environmental toxin? Like, we really don't. I mean, I think that there is enough population research that has been done that basically tells us that clearly environmental toxins are not good for us. If you grew up in a farm, then some of you, okay, so what I'm adding is I'm adding just like 2 small tablespoons of just regular yogurt. Now, some people, if you have a problem with lactose, you can buy lactose-free yogurt. We have that at our place. And then last but not the least, I don't like to add sugar. So I add a little bit of honey. And, Samantha's husband, Mohsen Elendary, a sweet guy, makes honey. And I just love his homemade honey. And I use that for that. So here's my, thing. We're completely now powered with all our nutrients in here. I didn't put, the things I missed is I didn't have pear, I didn't have kale, and I didn't have one more thing. Yeah, pear and kale I didn't have. But other than that, I have everything else. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a lot of crushed ice in here. Okay, and then I'm here. I'm just adding a few things. Okay, so I added a lot of crushed ice and I added some lactose-free milk in here. So if you can see this thing, and then I'm going to put my top on there. And let me see if I can turn this thing around and see if you can see. Can you see my Vitamix?
Oh,
Yeah?
yes.
Okay, so I put it there, make sure everything, it's a very high frequency rotator. So you got to be very careful. You got to make sure before you turn it on, everything's nicely closed. There is a lid on top of that that needs to be closed. And then you turn it on, turn the thing on, and bang. And I'm going to let this run for a second. Okay, and it's probably done. It's a very high frequency thing. Don't put your hand in there. It'll definitely take your finger off. It's very sharp, but it is very, and this is like a smoothie, and you pour it in a glass and you give it to the kid and you say, I'm not moving from here until every single drop in that glass is gone in your mouth and in your tummy. So that's what you got to do with your Parkinson's loved one, is stand there, make them drink it. It actually tastes really good. It tastes good. It tastes pretty good. What is it? So my kid says it's bearable, but my husband and I think it's yummy. So, if you want to make it sweeter,
And more honey.
yeah, just add more honey, add more honey. I say I add more love, and that's what makes it sweeter, right? With my lifestyle, how busy I am, I still find the time to cook for you guys and make the smoothie. Be grateful. Drink it up. Cure your constipation. Okay, so the smoothie is done, and I basically put all my vegetables. So I had 3 kinds of bell peppers that I just split them like lengthwise. They're orange, red, and green. And then I had the broccoli in there. I was gonna put mushrooms, but I think I'm gonna pass on the mushrooms. I'm gonna just let this cook a little bit. And then last but not the least, I'm going to basically add tomatoes. So I got 2 chopped tomatoes. You know, I'm more than happy to write this recipe up with the quantity of the ingredients if anybody's truly interested. Or you can watch the video while I'm doing it. So I add the tomatoes, and then I'm gonna just saute these. And then what I did is I got Italian spicy sausage from Whole Food. You can decide. Here's the joy of stir fry. I love stir fry. You can pick what veggies you want to add. You can pick what meat you want to add. You can pick what sauce you want to add. So, when my daughter goes away to college and I'm semi-retired and I want to have fun in life, I'm going to make all kinds of stir fry. My husband will never complain, and we'll just change the meat, change the sauce. You know what you can put is tofu. Oh, by the way, tofu for people who are vegetarian or vegan that basically cannot eat like animal meat, tofu is a very good source of protein. What I do with my tofu is I buy extra extra firm tofu, and then I drain out the water, kind of wash it out, and I slice it into some whatever size slices, and I air fry it. So I just put my butter spray, and I air fry it for about 20 minutes, and it becomes a little crispy. It's crisp. If you do it 20 minutes, it's crispy on the outside, very soft on the inside. It tastes very good. And you can use that instead of your meat. So, tofu, I think, is a very good, and again, when I was in grad school and somebody gave me tofu and I hated it. And then, as I grew up as an adult, I think I started to develop a taste for it. And so tofu is a good substitute. If you don't, you can add fish, you can add shrimp. It's what you like. Like I always say, it's whatever you like. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to cover this up because the tomatoes need to cook. So I'm going to cover this up. And then you want some smoothie, kid? She don't want it. Okay. And then I'm going to show you my sauces. So I mixed two things. So this is again, no endorsement. This is a Jamaican like jerk barbecue sauce that I just found somewhere. It's Walker's Wood. I like this one. And then I like sweet and spicy. So this is a Whole Foods sweet ginger chili, and I'm gonna basically, ideally you could just use one and one, but I kind of mix them and it comes out really nice because this is spicy and this is and you got the green chilies in there. So, it's definitely going to add like a good flavor to it. And you just got to get the tomatoes to melt. And then what I did here is, this is, if you can look at this is my sausage. I made it into cubes and I kind of air fried it. And when the tomato is, done, then I'm going to basically just add that in there, mix it in, put my sauces and let it stay on medium flame for about 5 minutes. And then we'll eat it for dinner. If you want to come over, I'm happy to give it to you. If you can find my place and come over, I'll share it with you. I can't give it to your internet. All right, I think, okay, so my last thing, and I'll be happy to take some questions. I wanted to put two things. Oh, so I forgot about the microbiome. I'm still gonna tell you. So what happens is there is probably some toxin, some bug that goes and it might change it might cause inflammation and it might cause change in the flora. Or is it something about Parkinson's disease that the gut flora changes, and then you have this flora that have particular compound which is called lipopolysaccharide or LPS, and that's considered to be a toxin, and that can cause inflammation. And there is the vagus nerve, which is part of the enteric system, and there is a hypothesis that it's basically called a dual hit hypothesis. Does something get through the nose, because the olfactory epithelium has dopamine. Does something get through the nose, go into the brain, start destroying neurons and depositing Lewy bodies which have alpha-synuclein? Or is it something you consume that goes into your tummy, changes your gut flora through the enteric system, through the vagus nerve, goes up and starts spreading Lewy bodies? Take your guess. So it's a dual hit hypothesis. And there was an interesting study, I think it was done out of Netherlands, where what they found is that patients who had what is called a truncal vagotomy, like in the olden days, we didn't have H2 blockers, we didn't have PPIs for GERD. They basically went and cut out your vagus nerve, and basically that resulted in less ulcers. uh, because of reduced, acid impact. But they found that people that had truncal vagotomy in that population had less Parkinson's. And so I don't recommend for people to go and get a truncal vagotomy. Like I don't recommend for people to smoke. I do, however, recommend for people to drink coffee if they enjoy it. And if you have a, strong family history. And I think that, they had less. So there is something to be said about the vagus nerve, which is gut, the gut brain axis, as they call it. And the gut is influenced by things that you would be surprised, and it plays a role in. So I think we should really take care of our gut. I'm going to stop eating spicy food. To the extent that I do, I'm totally destroying my mucosa, and I don't know what kind of diseases I'll end up with. I'll let you know. But I'm trying to do better now. So the last thing I want to say is last one word, and I want to talk a little bit about resilience. So maybe somebody can tell me, what is resilience? You want to tell me? Jana, tell me. What's resilience?
Resilience, is that what you're saying? Resilience is the capability to bounce back after something's happened to you. That is it normal?
All right, high five. Anybody else has a definition for resilience? It's what she said, right? Resilience is this ability, to basically really either maintain your emotional equilibrium or regain your emotional equilibrium and bounce back, like Jana said, after having had an adverse event. And is a diagnosis of Parkinson's disease adverse event? For somebody in the outside, well, I don't know. Maybe, COVID is an adverse event, and maybe an earthquake's adverse event, and maybe the snowpocalypse is the adverse event. But is a diagnosis of Parkinson's disease an adverse event? What's the answer?
No.
Well, yes and no. No, because, if you put perspective and you know what you know about Parkinson's disease, and that you can live a fairly, decent, good life. Look at Barry. He went skiing, and, so I think that's, but still, it's like gluten, like, celiac. For my 12-year-old, I thought it was a life-altering, 12-year-olds want to eat cupcake and cookies and cake and whatever else, and beignets. Every time we go to, spam, every time we go to New Orleans, the first thing, like, you barely hit the shores of Louisiana, and my kid would be like, let's go to Cafe Du Monde, mom, and that's beignets. It's dough, it's basically wheat, and, we can't eat it anymore. But guess what? When you have a mama that says never say die, then you figure out a gluten-free way to make it. And, we'll make some gluten-free beignets, and I'll bring it to Parkinson's Voice Project when we all open up. So, that's what resilience is. And, there is not a gene, like, it's not like, oh, I have a gene that gives me resilience. And, I think resilience is really something that we develop and we incorporate. And it's something that we learn. And obviously, the more adversity you have and the more ability you develop to overcome adversity, the more resilient you become. Sometimes I say, my mom got sick last week, and I said to my husband, I said, I think it's like the test of Job. I think I already did that like 3 times, right? Why do I have to go through this again, right? But life's unpredictable. What hits us, we don't know. Parkinson's disease is definitely challenging. I'm very empathetic to it. I love Parkinson's disease, but I also sometimes hate Parkinson's disease. But I think that, we can really live. My goal, as I was telling Lisha before, we all logged in, my goal for our community is to basically empower everybody with ton of education, ton of positivity, ton of resources, that we're going to be like the best community in the whole of the United States that is taking care of Parkinson's disease and living, a good life, with a good quality of life. And we're going to slowly, but, between TAPS and SkyPass Foundation and Samantha's Parkinson's Voice Project, we're all going to work really hard to make sure that, we live the best life in this country with Parkinson's. And, that's my message. And I think that, we all have to work, how do you develop resilience? Well, good family, good friends, exercise, and but I think in the end, it's just your own mindfulness. Like, the one thing that I've learned of life, having gone through some adversity, but also being a Parkinson's doctor for 20 years, I think it's all you. The more, I was telling Lisha a story when I was sick in 2013, and my boss came to see me, and I'm going to stop in a minute. And he said, why are you working? I said, I'm not seeing patients. But he said, why are you working? Why are you writing papers? Why are you, doing resident lectures? You're sick, you're dying. And my answer to him was that a wounded lion still wants to roar. So it doesn't matter. We're wounded, it doesn't matter. We are lions, we're not a cat. We're not gonna purr, we're not gonna meow, we're gonna roar. And so all of us, with Parkinson's, families with Parkinson's, doctors taking care of Parkinson's, foundation supporting Parkinson's, we're all lions, and we're gonna continue to roar until we can roar no more. And that's my last word.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Chitnis. You are
I'll take some questions.
inspiring.
I know I ran all the way till 1. I was trying to kind of cover a lot of things, but I think that, hopefully this is, good. And take a lot of things I say in jest, all right? I'm just trying to be funny.
So you were very fun, informative, helpful, all of those. I know that people are going to be asking me for your recipe with the ingredients. And a specific question that I actually just got was, folks are interested in your husband's recipe with the warm water, black pepper. If you can give us some general ratios so that I can throw that out to people as well.
Yeah, this is, yes, I will give you all the recipes that you want. We're gonna, I'm talking to some people, and we're gonna try to create something here in our community, and I'm gonna call it the PD Community Wellness Project. And we're gonna take different areas. We're gonna take exercise, and we're gonna take PTSD, we're gonna take weight loss, we're gonna take resilience, we're gonna take all kinds of things, and we're gonna build on these things, and we're gonna empower ourselves. And I'm gonna, try to create some accountability. Hey, you want me to give my time and teach you and come talk to you? Where's your accountability? Did you do your exercise? I'm not, if you didn't do your exercise, I'm gonna say, Barry, did you do your exercise 6 times a week? And Barry's gonna be like, no. And I'm gonna say, okay, Alicia, Barry's out. He can't come. And that's what I'm gonna do. Because guys, I love you, but I'm not gonna enable bad behavior, not for you and not for me. We gotta fight this, and we gotta be strong. So, just get on with it. Don't worry. We have to take care of Parkinson's. Of course, we cannot worry about it. But my whole point in doing this in this manner, and with the humor I incorporate, as I want people to live their life. Okay, live your best life. Parkinson's does not define you. It's a part of your life. You got to take care of it. And I'm going to sit on your head until you take your levodopa just the way I want it. But, in the end, we get together, and that's why I like the sense of community we have. We have fun, we help each other. I've seen, Pat and Barry and so many others, have helped people who can't go to therapy. They pick them up. Everybody needs to do that. If you are a PD patient and you are able to drive and you're able to take people's stuff, volunteer. I'll do it too when I'm retired. Me and Shelly are gonna pick up people and drop them off to therapy. You got to do it, right?
That's
You have any other
that's
questions?
wonderful.
I'm sorry, I didn't. Yeah, so I'll be happy to, just email you guys. The 2 articles I sent, the nutrition PD is really good, and the caregiver burden. We need to talk about, Shelly and I are going to create this module where we talk about caregiver burden, and we really need to address that, and maybe we can, in our community, create some kind of resource that if we identify a family that's truly struggling, then how can we as a community, volunteer to help them? I think
we're doing that at DAPS. We actually have a really thriving group of folks that are super dynamic, our PD pals, and that's exactly what they do. Of course, Pat and Barry are part of that group. So anytime we get new folks that call us in, which is on a daily basis, we absolutely connect them with somebody that might be in a similar situation, whether that be a spouse, a newly diagnosed, a woman, whoever that might be. We try to pair them up with somebody to give them that emotional support and the information. So yes, by all means, we're really trying hard to make sure that people get that support, because you're exactly right. It is needed, and it is available. So I also, Dr. Chitnis, I just added for everyone that's, if you have the chat feature on your screen, I've added the 2 articles that Dr. Chitnis sent me earlier. One of them is on nutrition and PD, and the other one is on caregiver burden. If you're not able to access those, then please email me and I will send those to you directly. But they are in the chat, so you should be able to open those up and then save it onto your computer if you'd like to read up on those too.
And what I'm gonna do, Alicia, I'm gonna talk to Shelly about it. Is I'm gonna try to start getting some like good articles, because what happens is, patients read like, what did you hear about this and you hear about that, and I want to get some good legitimate articles that are truly, of substance for patients, and I'm gonna try to see if we can just create a Dropbox where I can, continually start adding these articles, and then Shelly can create a link to that Dropbox so people can just go through the foundation, look at the articles, and read some good stuff. Like I want people to read stuff that's sensible and good, not just mumbo jumbo science. It's got to be like, everything can be evidence based, but at least things that will be useful. And so we're going to do that. We'll just work on it.
Thank you.
That's a great tool. Are there any other questions, comments, or raised hands anybody would like to ask Dr. Chitnis about?
There's what temperature do you air fry? I think I'm gonna do like 350 degrees for about 20 minutes, but you have to try it. I mean, each tofu is like different. Every 5 minutes, I'll just go and look at it and make sure I'm not burning it. So I'll put a 5-minute thing on myself to go check. So that would be important. You can try. Some people like their tofu soft and some people like it crispy. So it just depends. And every once in a while, if you really want to fry it, like, don't worry, I won't bite your head off. You can fry it, like, make it your cheat meal. Not a cheat weekend like mine.
Well, we all need to know that we can cheat every once in a while.
Of course, we all do. I made my friend buy chocolate from Switzerland, which was not delivered to the US. It was delivered from Switzerland to UK and then from UK to Dallas. It's a special kind of chocolate that I found in Switzerland. If anybody's going to Switzerland, ask me, I'll tell you. It's the best ever. It's like got a little liquor thing and cake in it. And my husband and I have just been like fighting tooth and nail with each other as to who's going to get more of it. All right. Well, take care, guys, and hope to see you. When is the travel thing? When are we going to do the travel one?
So our next one is on May 11th. And Dr. Chitnis, I've sent you the link, and I will be working on all the promotional aspects to send that to everyone through eBlast, newsletter, our website, social media. So that one should be really fun because I know we are all ready to get outside of our house, get outside of Dallas, and travel sometime soon, whenever that will be. So I know that will be really informative and something that can, I think, apply to all of us.
Yeah, I'm planning to go to India next month. So everybody pray for me. I'm going to go see my mom, but I'm going to cover myself in a bubble, and I'm vaccinated. I'm going to wear a mask, and I'm going to wear everything, and I'm going to come back alive. Don't worry. But I think I'll be gone for 10 days.
Well, we hope you have a safe, a wonderful trip with your family. And we'll be excited to hear about your journey and some of your travel stories on May 11th.
Yeah. And, maybe we can have people bring their favorite travel photo. And so maybe we can give everybody screen sharing capability at that time, Lisha.
Sure.
So, because I'm going to talk about like travel as it pertains to Parkinson's, travel abroad and even travel in the US and some good tips, but I'm going to bring like a lot of my own pictures, like my favorite travel pictures. So I want everybody to bring 1 or 2 of their own travel pictures and screen share with us. And that'll be really fun. That makes it very interactive. And then last but not the least, this is my last word. I'm going to tell Shelly about this. I want to start like a complaint group, like a resilience group where we're all going to come and talk about things we don't like. And then we're going to talk about, and we're all going to help each other. It's going to be like our own psychotherapy with your friends and your community. And, we're going to kind of try to figure out how to build resilience. But, I want to hear some fun stories and some sad stories and some, inspiring stories. And I'll tell you some stories as well. So I think that is going to be fun. I want everybody to stay engaged. And at the end of everything, I'll say exercise, speech therapy, medications, constipation, water. Don't forget.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for your enthusiasm, thinking outside of the box, your creativity, and for bringing us into your kitchen for the afternoon. Now, I'm sure we're all hungry and ready to go to stop over at your house and eat.
Come over. Bye, guys. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Chitnis. Thanks for everybody for tuning in.
Thank you. Are we going now?